Hi everyone, welcome back to the studio for this week's episode of Tutorial Tuesday number 27. Today I thought we would do something that we haven't done yet in my Tutorial Tuesday series, waterfalls. Be sure to check the description below for the paint list, and let's jump right up to the canvas. Today I have an 18 by 24 inch canvas, and it has been prepped with a very thin coat of liquid white, so it is wet and ready to go. To start off today, I think I'm going to use my 1-inch brush and go right into some Prussian Blue and just tap that into the bristles. I want to grab just a tiny little bit of Dyke Brown, maybe a little more. Let's test this out. I want a nice dark blue, just a touch of gray, and I like to use the Dyke Brown for that. It just kind of is a nice rich color, and it always makes me pretty happy when I use it, which I get surprised by. It's using brown in the sky. I'm just gonna go all the way across the top. It's kind of a misty day. The sun is hiding behind all the mistiness, so we need to make this more misty. Just a little bit more Dyke Brown. Just work that in. Now, as hindsight, I probably could have used a bigger brush, but we're just going to keep working with this, and I'm just wanting to get some texture going, so I'm really pushing pretty hard with the brush right now. It's just helping me to just really scrub this paint into the canvas and get the effect that I want. Now let's go ahead and incorporate these colors into the bottom. It doesn't really matter, this is all just going to be dark, but we do want to still just cover the canvas. And always make sure that we're using similar colors across the canvas for overall harmony of the scene. I'm really glad you all are here with me for my Tutorial Tuesday. Be sure to let me know in the comments below where you're watching from. I always like to see how, see where y'all are at. And I got some really fun pictures in my email from Kate. Thank you. Kind of some coastal pics. Hopefully we'll be painting a scene here soon from her. I'm really excited, but I didn't quite want to do a beach today. I had this other idea in mind, so we're doing waterfall today. I'm just getting this gray blue kind of blend up from the bottom. And now that I've kind of gotten rid of some of the paint from the brush, I'm going to come back up to the top here and bring this down even more, but it's just going to be a little bit lighter now. Just allow that to move down the canvas. until those almost meet. Now we're going to mix up our gray. This is almost equal parts of Alizarin Crimson and Phthalo Green. I usually say it's just equal parts because that would make a very beautiful gray. I wanted it today to be just a touch more to the crimson side, so there is a little bit more crimson than there was Phthalo Green. But as you can tell as we're mixing it up, it's already very, very, very dark green. So it has a little bit more Phthalo Green than I even thought. So I'm gonna go pick up, clean off the knife, pick up some more crimson and just get this to mix up together and just be a little bit more towards the crimson side. And you'll see as it mixes, it's just going to get nice and dark into this really dark gray. It's almost black, but it's definitely not. Once you start using it more, if you use it in some paintings, I think you'll have fun. I think it's a fun color to use for these misty effects. I live in an area where there are a lot of different types of kind of forests we can go into. So there's a lot of deciduous trees, so they lose their leaves during this time of year, which is the winter. And then there's the pine trees, and the pine trees, when you're in those kind of dark wooded forests, they just have this different feeling. This kind of, if the sun isn't out, it can be like, I don't know, like a little bit eerie, not in a bad way, but you get this feeling. So we're going to try and paint that feeling today. This is our gray mixture that we're going to just blend into this middle area. And we'll just bring that down to wherever. I'm going to pick up a blending brush. Let's see if we can find a clean one. They're hiding from me. Okay, clean blending brush. And we'll start from the lightest area and just make this so soft. Or not soft if you don't want it soft, but I want it soft today. So blend it until it reaches what you want today. I don't know how many of you who are here watching this video today are a part of my community on the YouTube channel, where, you know, I make some posts over there and we kind of have some chats and I post some pictures of what's going on. But recently I've been kind of going through just, you know, life stuff. And I just wanted to say thank you for everybody who's been, you know, cheering me on and encouraging me. And I'm really grateful for all of you, and to be here to just be enjoying the process of learning, and being able to teach, which I love, and just kind of share this passion for my creative journey. So thank you. Thank you all for being here. Please let me know in the comments below what types of paintings you want to see next. We're getting to almost episode number 30. I mean, 3 away. I'm blown away. And I want to do something special, so we'll just maybe do a little drawing of all of the different ideas, and maybe, I don't know, we'll see, but let me know what you'd like to see. I get, you know, all kinds of different ideas, and some days I'm inspired and to do something, and I have lots of ideas, and other days I have no ideas, so it's just fun to be able to incorporate you, if I can, in, you know, some ideas. So today Norman was sending me a lot of photos of some waterfalls, and now we're doing waterfalls. So thank you, Norman. Thank you all for being here. We'll get back to the painting now. It's all nice and soft and blended. I'm just going to leave it like that for now. Pick up my 1-inch brush again, and we're going to put in kind of a distant hill back here. Let's see what color. Probably this blue, some brown, a little bit of our gray, and I think we'll pick up just a touch of titanium white again. I don't want it to be too close. I want it to look kind of a little bit, you know, add some ambiance, a little bit of mistiness in between. So we'll just kind of mix up a nice little gray, dark gray, touch more phthalo green, I think, and that will look nice. There we go. And we'll just kind of pick out a little spot up here, and we're just going to put in this nice little kind of a hillside up here. And I'm just tapping and pulling down. It really helps to get kind of more of that texture building into it, and you can get an effect of a lot more trees with a lot less work. I'm just going to tap straight down, just a touch on these. I just want to soften them the slightest bit, and then we will work on a few bits at a time. Creating a few mounds and different layers to this hillside out here. You can just get a little, you know, nothing has to be exact. Just a few varieties. And I'm going to just soften out the base. Touch more paint, a little Van Dyke Brown more on there. A little Van Dyke Brown. I don't know why I'm speaking so strangely. I normally paint a little bit earlier in the day, but I'm doing a little bit of a sale right now on my website, which has been really fun. Something just to help, you know, say thank you for everybody. I'm doing some good deals and a little mystery painting. So you can check that out. I'll include some links. But anyway, I was doing some stuff for that and getting my website moving around and working on the business. It's been fun. So now I'm in the studio and I'm very excited to be painting with you. I'm just going to lift this straight up and we'll put in kind of our last few little bits. Something like that. Tap it out. I just don't want to spend too much time on the background because I really want to spend a lot of time on the waterfall, and I know that if I get too carried away back here, I'm just never going to get to the waterfall. So we're just going to put in something kind of simple. And something really cool about this process is you can paint a scene today and you can come out and paint another scene tomorrow, and it can be almost the same. You just do a practice piece and do another one. This is my first time painting this scene, and you all get to watch my hopefully success, but sometimes fails. Happy mistakes, remind myself, or happy accidents. That's it. I don't know what. Okay, let's do another little mound, something like that. Maybe we'll just do a few more. Look at this. Just get it nice and soft and misty. too crazy. I like to grab my paints from my piles and then kind of just distribute them into the brush a little bit. Then you can always pull it down if you want to get the paint in a different spot, but just tapping into it gets it nice and distributed really well for what we're doing up here, and that's just the best way for me, and I definitely would recommend trying it out, just seeing how you want the paint to come off. Maybe if it has the wrong shape, you can always just tap it out onto your palette and you'll get a different shape. Okay, most of this is going to be covered up. We'll just soften this out a bit. And I think we'll just bring this down, kind of in this a little bit of a rounded area. Just give it a little bit of variety. Lift it straight up. Whoop. These trees are all going to be, you know, mostly growing up straightish, but it also just helps to get some of the tap marks out. And then I'm going to pull it up into the same kind of direction. And this also will soften and get it nice and misty. Straight. And now I'm just going to soften this. And now's a really great time to step back away from your painting and just check it out. Really like it. So we're just going to continue and we'll fill off this top bit here with our little hill that's kind of just rolling down the side. It's closer, but not much. It's grassy now. There's some trees back there, but it's just going to be nice and grassy. I'm going to come up in here and add a few more, just a few more little details, and then we want to fill this all the way in just until here. Soften the base, give that a nice little lift. And then we'll just soften some of this out a little bit more. Okie dokie. Now, let's move on to the next bit here. Big hill, much closer. Let's just tap into all of our dark paints. Grab a little bit more crimson. Over here, we started with a little bit of titanium white and then kind of faded out of that and went into the dark. But on this side, we're really just going to fill this with dark all the way down. I need to reload a little bit. I want it to be a nice dark little outline here. And then we're going to kind of move it into a little bit of grass. So we'll just fill in a tiny bit more of our trees. Give it a nice tap right out. Get out those brush strokes. Nice and dark still. We're just going to keep layering in a few kind of like these stands of trees, but they're farther away and it's a misty day, so we just want to kind of soften them out. Got a little bit of excess paint on the brush, just get rid of that, no big deal. Let's put in a few, just grab some of the dark paint and just put in a few tree branches, kind of down in this misty area where you might see a few just scraping these in. Now we'll use our 2-inch brush, just lightly kind of just set them into the canvas a little bit. And we're going to put in a little bit more of our hill over here. Now it's kind of flattening out a little bit. Out here we've got some grass, and it's just going to kind of come up in to meet these trees up here. A little more dark. We'll have like another little hill right over here. I'm just gonna try and line us up for our waterfall out here. Trying to think of a little bit of shape and getting these kind of some mounds out here. We'll work in some more detail later once we pick out some more areas. This is going to be largely the undercolor. We're going to come back in and do some highlights out on this hillside. is going to be, our waterfall is going to be kind of in this area, and then we have some water here, and then another fall kind of in this area. So we're going to have a lot of dark over here. And I want to line us up so we have our little bit of a land that's going to come over on the top here. And we've got some land and rocks over here. Okay, let's start adding just a little bit of highlights out here on some of our grass. Well, before we do that, I want to add in just a few. Let's come up here and we'll just pop in a few more little dark areas. These will be just some kind of trees. And then we'll put in a few more. I'm going to use my knife again just to kind of put in a few. Tree branches and some stumps. And we can put some more in later. I'm going to pick up a new 1-inch brush. And I'm going to go into my dark color and grab some yellow ochre. Just mix those two. We want a yellowish color, but not a very bright color today. We just want something that's going to stand out against this. We're not going super crazy on colors. So I'm going to pick out, let's see, so it needs to be a little bit thinner. We'll grab a little bit of liquid white. And that's going to lighten our color up, so we need to grab some more dark. But we did need it to be light for it to show up. Okay, now that we have a nice color here, I'm just going to get a little bit more. I'm going to push the brush into the paint up, and that's going to load the top of the brush with our yellow. And we'll just tap grab our paint. I want a little bit more kind of a green hue. I'm just going to grab some phthalo green and our yellow ochre. We still have some of this muddy blue, but I just wanted it to be a little bit more of this greenish hue and a little less yellow. So now that we have that loaded again, let's go ahead and pick out some areas where we're going to have some highlight. We're just going to work this color down the hill here. We kind of just lost our little bush. Let's put that back in. Get a little bit of dark and get some bushes back over there. And we will load up our brush and just continue down the hill. Working in stages, a little lighter, get some liquid white and just dip off some of the excess, and now we have some on our palette. I want this this to be a nice little hill out here, kind of just this beautiful little meadow. And so we'll come back and add some more color to it if we need to, but just to start, a very soft look today. Nice and flat here. A little bit more. Some darker. Some lighter. All right, now let's pick up the blending brush that we were using earlier, and we're just going to soften some of this. Just kind of turns this into a little bit of a velvet looking grass, and that'll just really help us so that we can come back and add a little bit more color where we want it. And it kind of helps us to get everything flowing together. Now you can take a step back and check it out. And now we have an idea of our hills. We'll come back and give them a little bit of a pop. A brighter color, little yellow ochre, a little phthalo green, and a good amount of our liquid white, because we do need this to be nice and thin to stick right on top. Let's go into this color. I'm liking this here. And now I'm going to pick out my exact areas where I want some light color. And I mean, the sun is probably just going to be slightly to the left, but it's behind clouds, so we can't see it. And so you just have to imagine some of these hills, you know, they're just kind of illuminating themselves with some reflected light with the clouds and the water. You're just gonna get some nice areas that are shining. Maybe right down here. Got some airplanes going by. I don't know if you can hear that. I can hear them very loud. It's probably so fun though. Just soften that again. Right, let's just use a little bit more of this dark gray, and we're going to put on a few darker branches there. And I'm going to pick up my script liner actually. Let's see if I can find it. I don't know where all of my tools went. Oh, okie dokie. Got it. Okay. Script liner and some brush wash. This is just my brush wash recipe. I don't use paint thinner. So I'm going to dip into the brush wash and go into my dark gray. This is the equal parts Alizarin Crimson and Phthalo Green, and I'm just going to put in some tree branches, and then we're going to have this nice one, let's see, right here. Give it a nice little shake out, because they're not going to be straight. Some variety, and then we'll just continue. Gonna have some more here. Kind of, they're like tall and skinny, but they've got a lot of cool branches. And a few friends. Just gonna put a whole family out here, I guess. Some back in here, just a few little sticks and twigs and things. Sometimes it can get kind of hard to do the tree branches because they don't show up right away. So just be patient, but once you work with this brush wash a little bit more, you will be able to practice and it'll all make sense. But these dark lines, they are one, just kind of hard to capture on camera, but two, they look a lot lighter when they're wet because they're shiny, and the shiny part is reflecting the light and it makes it look lighter because it's bouncing it back. Once it dries, it's going to be a little bit more matte, and so it will just look different. They usually will look much darker, so don't get too worried. We'll just put in a few little things. And I want to put in another one that just grew out of these. It just got kind of taller. Persevered. That's what we're trying to do here. Persevere. Show these trees they can do it. Look at him go. He's getting so big. And maybe have a few little friends. Okay, now we need to kind of just darken up around the bottom of these little trees that we just put in. And just set them right in to our space. We'll kind of throw in a few little branches there. And then I'm going to open up the brush a lot. Get right into just the tip of the brush. Open it and get a good bit of paint, and we'll have a nice little kind of pattern. Hopefully that will come out. Actually, I think I'm going to make this one, I want this tree to be a little bigger, and it's going to come up above there. He wouldn't have looked right if he was that skinny and that tall, but we'll give him a little more. I just wanted to pop a little bit more, so we're just going to bring him out a little bit. And then as we work in some more tree branches, it will fill him out. And then we can just tap in some ideas, just a few. I don't want it to be like a bunch of branches, just, or a bunch of leaves. They're kind of bare. Get that brush to really open up. Get a few out here. I'm trying to be really deliberate about where I tap, and you just tap and pull off. And just turning the brush a little bit, and you get these fun little patterns of this nice thick paint that just sits right on top, and it's super gratifying. Now we're gonna go back and get a few more branches and some sticks and twigs just to kind of show up out here. But we wanted to put the branches on first, or these leaves on first, because it kind of helps so you don't put too much, you know, and go too overboard with the tree branches. At least it helps me. And I really wanted these trees to look just like kind of just haggard, I guess. I don't know. They're, you know, on this hillside, and they're working hard, and by the waterfall, it's usually a bit chillier by the water, so these trees just, they've got to work pretty hard. That's why they're in groups together like this, because they need each other. And they could do it by themselves, you know, a little bit, but they just, you know, they need help. And when they have their friends to protect them, and you know, they work together, then they're gonna have the most luck and resilience when it comes to the different types of weather and cold and wind and rain, all of that. So anyway, I want to put in a bunch of dark here. There's going to be kind of a drop off, where it just kind of, this big hill is going to drop, and it's going to help us with our waterfall, which also is going to just drop right off. So we need to put in this in the beginning. Give this all something to stand on. And then we'll just go ahead and use this to put in some dark here. Just to soften down. I think we'll have a bit more. Let's leave that for just a second, because we're getting into our waterfall area, and we just want to get a nice little gray happening down in here. So let's soften this first. Just going to clean out the brush a little bit and just soften all of this together. Okay. I'm gonna go take a quick break and just go sit down and have a little snack, and I'll be right back. All right, I'm back here, and I'm realizing that I just want to put in another little stump here, kind of up here with this other guy. throw them on up in there. Now I have the palette in. Hopefully that's more helpful. I'm going to use my dark brush and just go right into that dark mixture and just pop on a few ideas. I mean, the real, like, what these really look like is just a bunch of sticks, like a bunch of, you know, where leaves probably would have been. So we're not going to get too carried away. I just want this to have a bunch of, you know, in areas that looks like where we don't have all of these, we have some actual tree branches. Yeah, something like that. Now, I only sort of have a rough idea of kind of what I'm going to go for here. So we'll just kind of wing it together. I'm trying to go off of my original kind of sketch here, which hopefully I'll remember to put in the video. You know, I have them for pretty much every painting. I have a sketch or a couple images that I'm looking at, and I just forget to add them into the videos because there's so many things. I've never made videos before this channel, and I've had this channel for like 2 years. And I'm still learning, so we're learning together. I'm just working this dark down, kind of something like this. And I want to blend this area here and really make this softer. I'm pressing really, really firmly with this brush. Now I'm just going to give it a little bit of even more softening. And we'll soften this out with that. Why not? Why not? What are we doing? I don't know. Let's get a little bit of an idea. I'm going to pull out my sable brush. Just any one, whichever one I end up picking up is the one I'm going to use. And I'm going to mix up a little bit more gray just on my brush very quickly here. And I just want to get an idea. My waterfall is going to be coming straight out of this, but I want to give it the right kind of shape. So we'll get this hill up here, move that a little bit higher. And then we'll bring this across like that. We're going to just sketch out a little bit of an idea of our falls. We're going to have it a little more out here. So a big rock right there. And I want to have a nice big rock here. And just kind of soften that out. We'll have another big rock right here. This is just going to be our guidelines. These are very dark areas. I'm using all of our dark colors, and we're putting in our dark. shadow area. Try and always focus. We want to try and focus the angles. Now that we've given ourselves a little bit of an idea of what these other features are going to look like, then we are always trying to focus the direction of the stroke to resemble that waterfall. So we don't want to forget about it. Now we're just working in stages here, and we're going to put in some of our darkest areas. We have a nice dark and light area kind of combo over here. And as soon as we get all of our dark in, it's going to allow us to get the lights in as well. So we're leaving some areas where we want some of our brighter areas of the waterfalls to be, and we are just going to start shaping some of this dark out behind it. And we have a fall coming down. Our very first fall is this top one, and it's going to come down just straight from the top. Nice fall, and that's when it gets a little bit crazy. Some of it's falling down. And some of it's hitting and gonna start bouncing off of these rocks here. And we just want to bring these colors together. And it's just going to help us work all of these into play. Remember how we put this dark in, and now we have the water. It's going to come off the top here. Get a little bit here. And this is just going to kind of splash and gurgle around in this little area before it has a few more trips out. In this area here, we're going to have lots of just big falls all kind of coming down together. So you just have to work in stages and pick out. I mean, you can do something that just is coming straight down nice and easy, but for whatever reason, I decided to choose something more challenging today. So here we are together. Let's bring this back. I want to bring this shape, kind of a hill down here and another hill right here. So let's just end this fall that seems to be never ending at the moment. Come back over here. Sure. We'll have this other bit here. It's going to be nice, dark, another fall kind of here, so I want to darken this back. And then we can just take a towel and pick out the top. So something like that. Something dark. Okay, now I'm gonna pick up a bigger brush, a bigger sable brush. We're gonna use a couple of these today. I really like them. They're just a nice soft brush. And I use them a lot, especially for seascapes, but anyway. A fresh one, I'm going to pick up some titanium white. And for our highlight of the water, I don't know yet. Let's just figure this out as we go. I'm going to soften this a little bit more. Just really gonna try and soften the heck out of this because it's just going to help set everything up. I'm gonna get some dark sienna. And we're gonna use this just to dull our titanium white for the highlight sections. This is kind of like the underside of the highlight section, so we want it to be still not white. We're just using the dark sienna to dull the titanium white so that it's not pure titanium white. And as you can tell already when we put it out here, it looks really bright. So it's doing what we want it to. We just want to make sure that we are using it and putting it into the right spots. Kind of have our highlight. Now we're picking up a good bit of blue, so we want to bring it back to that brown. And we're just going to use this in a lot of these areas where we were planning on having some highlights. Ooh, I think the weather has started. 20% chance, and it was just sunny out, but I think it's raining. Oh. Oh, and it stopped. such a interesting place. Lots of fun weather. I live right at the base of some of the mountains out here, so we do get some of that crazy in between weather. So I shouldn't be surprised. Now I'm just going to kind of bring some of these together and soften them. And then we're going to get into some more of the nitty gritty. I like to start off with like a pretty good idea of some shapes that I want to work with. Especially so you're not just going into it completely blind, and and then you might develop something as you are working, which is totally fine, but this just seems to be a little bit easier for me with waterfalls because you get a little bit carried away, or you might get stuck up on a certain detail for a little while. So I'm just going to kind of start off with my general ideas, and then we're just going to build in these little steps, like little bit by little bit, until we have our completed scene that we want. So we just work a little bit at a time and pick out some of the nice bits of the waterfall where that are going to be catching the most light, where it's the brightest, it's flowing the most. Got this one coming down. I kind of want to build out this here a little more. Perhaps this, something like that there. And we'll have something like that. Now I'm going to pick up, let's see what I have on this brush. It's just a little bit dirty. Nice and soft. I'm going to blend and just soften this bottom out first. I didn't quite mention it, but when I'm using these, all of these paints are all a pretty thick texture, just like these trees that we put up. I haven't been thinning any of this paint yet. This is all thick paint that we're working, and this sable brush allows us to just get off a little bit of that top layer, and it just softens it so that we can put on a couple more layers. So it's just, you could use a bigger brush, but I like to be able to have a little bit more control, and so I really like these sable brushes for this. And this is just going to be kind of splashing around on all of this. Now we're going to work with our darks here again and just bring some of these darks back in, just in a few areas. And we're just working and softening to give ourselves a nice shape and a good idea of what we want our waterfall to look like. these darks up into just softening it. Remember, we put these dark areas in where we were going to have some rocks with the general idea and shape of those rocks. We haven't actually put the rocks in. We just are planning and setting this all up for us. And it's really, really important at this stage that we have lots of variety of our color, but we're keeping in mind where our highlights and our shadows are. So we're gonna have a nice big bright bit here, right? So, you know, we're working in some of our shadows in and under the bottom areas of these falls and giving them a nice, you know, some of these under dark bits down here. I want to remind ourselves and remind myself and have this nice kind of dark line here. This is just a part of this hill that I want to make sure that we kind of nail. Good bit of composition here working for us. Something like that. And this is about where it kind of just drops off. We're going to put some rocks over here. But I want to use a little bit of our highlight brush and we'll just take out a few areas back here on this, and then it's going to just kind of have a few little trails where it hangs off like that, and we're going to use our dark. And just fill this in with the dark. Just something like that for now. And I'm going to find my palette knife and we'll mix up all of our dark colors here. Into just a little pile of dark, and we're going to put in our rocks. And this one, the waterfall is going to be kind of going behind it, so we might have to touch that one up. But we just want to make sure that we don't forget, and this really helps giving an idea of what these are going to look like for that back layer. We'll just leave that for now. I'm going to pick up a fan brush, and this is the magic. We'll see if it works. This is always kind of like a little bit of maybe it's a little bit scary. It might be a little bit scary, but yeah, we're gonna get through it together. So we're grabbing just a touch of our dark sienna again, a little bit of liquid white. And we're gonna do our first fall all the way back here, straight across and down. I need to get this trim, but I don't have scissors in here. Okay, maybe I'll pick out a different. That fan brush was just like way too dead, so I'm picking a less dead one. There were just so many bristles that were missing on the end. I could use a little bit of a trim and They just get a little shorter, but they still work. Anyway, I'm mixing up a new color on a different fan brush, same size, just a little bit newer. And I'm just going to continue to work across this fall one little bit at a time. Straight across and down. Now over here, we're going to, ooh, be brave. Okay, here we go. Give it a pull down. It's going down, and it's going down, and that's what we got. Get some more paint. Let's just do it. We can always take it off. Mix up a medium texture. And we'll do one more right out here. It's working. We're gonna have some of this coming down here on this side. And then just gonna pull some right in front. Let's see, it's gonna come down, and we need to pull some more of this down. Kind of behind, and then we'll come back into the front here. And we've got one right out here. Let's soften the bottom of this. Just bring these now. We've got this fall that comes off. Just retrace it and pick it right back up all the way out. Boom. And it kind of hits off, and just let it go. Hits off that little rock underneath. Just give it some flair. We're just doing the highlights kind of sections right now. We want to bring another one, whoa, right out there in front, and we can come back. And we'll do this one more section of highlight. Got a lot coming down here. Wiggle it a little bit. It does need to be thin for it to really kind of that medium thin texture. We've got some water coming down right here. And it's splashing around over here on some rocks. Put some more rocks in over here. Now we can really get serious about the rock. all the way down. Now, titanium white. Just grab some of our grays. We'll just use this white. I actually want to just kind of give this a different shape over here. I think it looked kind of odd. We'll just do that. And then we'll get some of our blue with some white, just some reflected color. Just let it come right off the brush, however, or the knife, however it wants to. A little more white. And let's go ahead and do this other one over here. Just put that in. Let's see what that looks like. I'm going to add a little bit of kind of some reflected light. Give it a little bit of shape. And something that I think really helps, you can just use your big brush and kind of tap them just a teensy little bit like that. I like barely tapped them. I'm going to use now my sable brush and just kind of a little bit of an area here. Soften back some areas. Going to pull out some of this dark. Now pick up the fan brush again, and we are going to pull just a little bit more. Let's flatten this out a little here, and then pull that out there. And now I want to just kind of close off these rocks. So we'll just work on the water that's really being featured on the rocks. We can use just the corner of the fan brush and pull some water down on top. And then we kind of work and pull some water off of the front. Maybe off the side here. And then we're gonna throw a little bit out there. Maybe some kind of splashes right in here. And then we'll have some of this just going right over the top of this one. But anyway, nothing. I'm just working on just kind of softening up some of these areas. And then we're going to do the next stage, which is this tiny little bit over here. We need to put in our rock. We're just going to put in something like this. Get it nice and dark underneath. And get this sable brush and you just fix that right up. Look at how easy that is. Down here on the bottom, soften, and then we want to allow it to get that nice and dark. And then we will come back in and just throw on a little bit of some highlights to this, where, you know, reflected light that's coming off of the water and stuff. Just kind of give it a little bit of just a little bit of an idea. And then we're going to come back in. This is nice and kind of in our dark water, so we're just going to get a nice kind of dark blue. We're working a little bit more with like the shadow side of the water. This one's going to come out here and just go right on off and just play around. And we'll have a little bit off on this side too. Then we bring this other one back out in front, a little bit of our highlight, and just bounce that right off out in front. We want to bring a little bit more highlight here and here, kind of soften that. And I'm just going to add in a few, just some water movements. Oops, we forgot another rock over here. Just put in your dark. it a little bit of our reflected light. It doesn't need much. And then we will soften some of this out. And with our thinned out shadow paint, shadow water color, we will just put on a few fun ideas, just some water movements. As this water is just kind of playing around and bouncing off. Right, and then this is the last bit, that's the hardest bit. I just want to bring this top bit of water, just make sure that it's right down on top of these. Get a couple more kind of spraying out. And now let's get the dark brush, and we're just going to close this off with our kind of land, grassy land over here. We just use this dark. And play it right into this next area here. Just right down in front. I'm realizing that the sun just went down because it just got really cold in here. So we might be doing just one waterfall today. We'll see if we can wrap this up here. But now we're going to take our 2-inch brush, and I went really far down with this waterfall that I didn't quite actually mean to do. But we're going to put some mist in over here. Just at the base, it's going to be nice and misty. Lightly tapping. Now let's work on our rocks over here. just pick up some Dyke Brown and some of our rocks over here. We'll use that similar color, and we're just going to pull down a few kind of areas over here where we have some land and rocks. And I'm going to put in a little bit more dark here. Let's get some more paint. Dyke Brown. And our gray. A little bit of blue. Just mix that into a nice big pile. We're going to need it. It is chilly. All of a sudden, it just changes just like that when you live in the mountains. Okay. Gonna try and finish this here painting up. And just giving this some kind of rocky texture. Just any old, I'm going to use my brush just to kind of distribute a little bit more of that. And then we will mix up some more kind of reflected rock color, Dyke Brown and a lot of our blue, some titanium white. Grab some of that, and I really wanted it to be more Dyke Brown. So let's try again. There we go. Just kind of a nice dark marbled rock color. We're just going to pull down a few. Two-inch brush again, very lightly. I'll wipe that off a little bit, and then we'll go into this bunch of mist that we just added, and we're just going to bring these two together a little bit. I'm going to pick up one of my fan brushes and get just a nice dark green color and just pop in some grasses over here. Does need to be kind of thin. Not too thin, but a little bit thinner so that it'll stick. dark now. And just adding some texture. Just up here a little bit more there. Okay, now with my light fan brush, let's actually use our 2-inch brush. Just blend this here a little more. We want to make this nice and soft. Kind of giving this a swirl. Now we've got a nice, real misty effect here, and we're going to bring this other land area over here. So with the palette knife, just pick out, and it's going to be this kind of like a big rock up here and down, and you just kind of close off this other bit over here, and then we're going to have this stream coming out this way. Some big old rocks just right out here. Nice and dark at the bottom. And we're going to use our 2-inch brush to pull some of this mud into the water. Let flat across. And we've got our mist that we need to bring back. We're just going to mystify this bottom here. Titanium white. Rock kind of coming out into this here. Little reflected light on the top of this. pull some of our water mixture. I'm going to get a nice dark gray blue. And it's just going to come right in front here. We're just going to let this kind of flow through here. We were going to have another waterfall, but I just don't think there's enough time, and it is very cold in the studio. So we're just going to bring this together over here. Pull out a few more rocks. I'm going to put in a nice little tree over here. Just kind of setting out over this side of the falls, just hanging out. It's probably got a good view. I'm just using my dark gray and a little bit of my brush wash to put in a bunch of tree branches over here. We'll use the dark on the dark brush. Get that brush to really open up. And make sure to change it up too. Put on some more branches now. A little bit more. Maybe we'll have a couple more over here, just kind of almost right in front. And if you put them on last, then they really will sit out there and hang out. let that sit a minute. We'll use some more of our dark on our brush just to get our idea over here of this other little mound. Little bit of titanium or liquid white, and we'll go into some of our greens here. And we're just going to pick out a few areas where there's going to be a little bit of highlight on some grasses, some little grassy bits. And then we're going to put in a little bit of rock underneath that. We'll pick out some of our rock color. Just to throw some of that on there. A little bit more of our yellow. A little bit here and there. Go back to some of our darker greens. Just plop out a little bit of grass. Get a little more liquid white. Phthalo Green and yellow ochre. It's a little too much liquid white there. Just not liking that color. Get a little bit more of our dark. And we'll just use that. Right, let's get some titanium white. And we're going to use this and really finish off our foam up here. Just push that up. Give it a push. Straight titanium white. Straight. Swirl that around. Let's get a little over here too. And we're just going to kind of move this around. You can use whatever brush you have going. Just give it some moves. Dark there. Now let us bring this down right over here and across. I definitely had something different planned, but gosh, it is really getting cold in the studio, and I'm just barely getting over a little bit of a cold, so I'm just going to do this, and we're going to be done soon. I would love, 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 love to see you try this painting, and maybe you do another little waterfall. I don't know, but I think if we just put some grasses way out here, there's always some long, some of those long grasses that are just growing pretty much anywhere that there's green. You're gonna see some grass. Something hasn't come by and eaten it yet. There's just so much living by the water. Just get any thin paint, and we just start pulling out a few grassy areas, long grasses. Some more rocks here and there. Can even use the fan brush. I've got one with some dark over here. Just pull up a little bit and you'll get some smaller little grasses. Pick up the 1-inch brush. We're just going to pop in just some variety of grass out here. Liquid white, yellow ochre. I'm just pressing the paint into this other paint, and it's nice and thick, so it's blending. And I really want the focal area to kind of be this waterfall, so if we just leave some of this as not very detailed out here, then it just gives that effect. So you don't have to go really all that crazy, and it'll dry really nice. I like to put lots of little grasses and different colors of things out here by the water, because there's bound to be something out here that's just some flowers, or something pretty. There's going to be some other colors, so we just put a few out here. And just pop in some color. Maybe we'll have a little mound. something like that. And pick up your fan brush, go into your blue and green and pick up some yellow. Just here and there, put in a few more little grassy bits. Nothing crazy. And we need to finish off this kind of hill over here. We've got just a few areas that need some rocks. So we'll pull out just a few highlights, reflected areas. Right back into the water. Use your fan brush. Clean it up. Maybe get some dark. And some little grasses. Maybe there's a tree right here. Just trying. We'll put in a few little grasses. Kind of set him down. That's more yellow. Now I'm just going to use my 1-inch brush and try and thin out this yellow and see if we can't use this color over here just to pick out more of our lay of the land. I just want this to kind of zoom up this hill here. Maybe just some big sparklers out there. Who knows? Let's just do it. Don't know. Just pushing that brush up and seeing what comes out. I like it. Let's leave that. We'll pull out a couple more with the script liner. You just come and pull out a few long dark strands through this, and you just kind of get a thin paint. Pick up your palette knife and get a little bit of paint on the knife, and we're just going to clean up right wherever we need. Just kind of add in a little bit more of a flat line there. Maybe we'll put in just a couple more nice bright little pops on top like that. I'm gonna use some liquid white and go right into some of this bright yellow and see, get a little bit of that going, just here and there, pull out some grasses that are going to be like a little contrast to what we just were putting on the dark. You want it to just stand out and be like another plane within that plane. Maybe a few scraped in little grasses. Let's try that. Just a few here and there. Excuse me. Some dark. Few. Just want to fill them all, make them all kind of the same, right? Okay, I'm almost done. Yes, let's do that. And I really need to be done. I'm very chilly and I would like to go back inside. Okay, let's do a little bit of cleanup and I'm gonna pull out some bright red for the signature. Get a little liquid white and some bright red. And some thinned out. My brush wash is kind of dirty, so I kind of muddied up that color just a tiny bit, but it'll still work. Right. All right, a nice, fun, misty scene. I'm just so excited to watch this one dry. I'm always really fascinated with the water blending and these kind of these misty areas. They just kind of develop over the next couple of days. So I'm always super entertained to watch them, dry. So thank you all so much for joining me here today for tutorial number 27 in my series of Tutorial Tuesday. I'm gonna keep doing Tutorial Tuesday because I love it and I'm having a lot of fun. But we're gonna be working through a few other changes with the Friday Fun Day. I think that's probably just gonna be once a month type thing. And I'm really working towards getting my members only channel built up. So thank you for all of my members who are even here watching this video with me. I appreciate all of you so much. And I just want you to know that I'm thinking about you. I have a video in the queue that is working for you that should be up later this week. Just special members only content for you, no commercials, all that good stuff. So anyway, we'll see you back here next week for Tutorial Tuesday. Every Tuesday at 5 o'clock, we do a live premiere and watch this video for the very first time. And yeah, I'm having so much fun, and I'm so grateful for all of you. So thank you so much for being here. Smile and be happy, friends.